Absolutely here, a 2,000-word emotional high-retention YouTube story based on your title. My son threw me out, get out of here, you burden, but when my eldest daughter found out. The rain poured that night as if the heavens themselves wanted to wash away my pain. I stood on the porch, soaked to the bone, clutching the small suitcase that contained what little was left of my life. Behind me, the front door slammed shut, the same door I once walked through holding my newborn son in my arms, proud and hopeful. Now that same son stood on the other side, his words still echoing in my ears. Get out of here, old man, you're a burden to us. A burden. I had never thought I'd hear that from my own child, the boy I raised single-handedly after his mother passed away. The boy for whom I had skipped meals so he could eat. The boy I carried on my shoulders when his little legs grew tired. But time changes people. Chapter 1, the beginning of the end. After my wife Maria passed away 10 years ago, I tried my best to hold the family together. My two daughters, Sarah and Emily, had already been married, but my son Kevin was still living with me. He was 23 then, young, ambitious, and stubborn. When he married Lily, I thought my loneliness would ease. I was wrong. From the very beginning, Lily made it clear that my presence was inconvenient. She'd sigh whenever I entered the room. She'd whisper to Kevin when she thought I wasn't listening. And slowly, she turned my son's heart against me. At first, it was small things, cold dinners, ignored greetings, then it became worse. Dad, can you maybe eat in your room? Lily doesn't like too much noise during dinner. Or, Dad, maybe you shouldn't wear those old clothes when guests come. It's embarrassing. Embarrassing. I said nothing. I didn't want to cause a rift. I told myself Kevin's young, he'll understand someday. But I was wrong again. Chapter 2, the breaking point. One evening, as I sat in the living room watching TV, Lily started yelling from the kitchen. Kevin, he broke another plate. Why is he even touching the dishes? I walked in, holding the broken ceramic in my hand. It slipped, Lily. I'll buy you a new one tomorrow. She sneered. It's not about the plate, it's about you. You're old, careless, and... Lily, Kevin interrupted. Enough. For a moment, I thought my son would defend me. But then he sighed and looked at me, not with love, but frustration. Dad, maybe she's right. You've been forgetful lately. Maybe it's time you gave us some space. Space, I repeated, barely believing my ears. Just for a while, you could go stay with Sarah or Emily, he said, eyes avoiding mine. We need to focus on our own life now. My heart broke, but I still smiled. Of course, son, I understand. I went to my room that night and sat in the dark, staring at Maria's photo on the wall. You see, Maria, I whispered, the home we built isn't mine anymore. Chapter 3, the night I was thrown out. A week later it happened. It was raining heavily. I was about to go to bed when Lily came storming in, holding an envelope. Kevin, he forgot to pay the electricity bill again. We almost got the power cut. I had completely forgotten. It was my responsibility and I'd messed up. My memory wasn't what it used to be. Kevin's face turned red. Dad, how could you forget something so simple? I'm sorry, son, Sorry isn't enough, he snapped. You've been messing things up for months. You're costing us money, peace, everything. Kevin, please. Just get out, he shouted. You're a burden. The room went silent. Only the sound of rain filled the air. I stared at him, my son, my blood, and saw nothing of the boy I once knew. My hands trembled as I picked up my small suitcase from the corner. Without a word, I opened the door and stepped into the storm. Chapter 4, the long road. The cold wind bit into my skin as I walked aimlessly down the empty street. My heart felt heavier than my luggage. Every step away from that house felt like walking through mud, each one harder than the last. I went to Sarah's house first, but she wasn't home. She was out of the country on a business trip. Her husband, David, was kind, but he looked uncomfortable. Dad, Sarah isn't here and we don't have the space right now. Maybe you could check with Emily. I nodded. Of course, son, don't worry. By the time I reached Emily's home, the rain had turned into a drizzle. She opened the door, shocked to see me standing there, drenched. Dad, what happened? Her husband, Paul, appeared behind her, frowning. What's going on? Kevin had already called her, it seemed, because she sighed and said softly, Dad, Kevin told me everything. You should have been more careful. Lily said you broke things and forgot bills. I looked down. Yes, I made mistakes. I suppose I just don't belong anymore. Emily hesitated but eventually said, maybe you should stay at the shelter nearby just for tonight. I'll come visit you tomorrow, okay? Chapter 5: The Shelter. The shelter was dimly lit and smelled faintly of disinfectant. The volunteers were kind, but I could see the pity in their eyes. I wasn't homeless, not really, but I had nowhere else to go. That night, I lay on a thin mattress, staring at the ceiling, thinking of Maria. She had once said, no matter how big they grow, they'll always need you. She was wrong. I cried silently until sleep finally took me. Chapter 6: The Eldest Daughter Returns. The next morning, I heard a familiar voice calling my name. Dad, Dad, where are you? It was Sarah, my eldest daughter, the one who had always been calm, responsible, and fiercely loyal. She rushed to me, eyes wide with tears. Dad, what happened? Why are you here? Why didn't anyone tell me? I tried to smile. Oh, Sarah, it's nothing. Kevin and Lily just needed some space. I didn't want to bother you. Her face turned red with anger. Space, space, they threw you out in the rain, Dad. Her voice echoed through the hall. Everyone turned to look. She turned to the shelter manager. How long has he been here? Just one night, the woman replied softly. He said he didn't want to cause trouble. Sarah took my hand. Let's go, Dad, you're coming with me. Chapter 7: The Confrontation. When we arrived at Sarah's house, she sat me down with a blanket and a warm cup of tea. Then she picked up her phone and dialed Kevin's number. I tried to stop her. Sarah, don't. Dad, no, he needs to hear this. When Kevin answered, his tone was casual. Hey sis, what's up? Sarah's voice turned cold. You threw Dad out of the house. There was a pause. Sarah, you don't understand, he's been. No, you don't understand, she snapped. Do you have any idea what you've done? He raised us alone. He worked double shifts to pay for your college, and this is how you repay him. Kevin stammered. Lily was upset and Dad. I don't care what Lily was, Sarah interrupted. You could have found a way to work things out, but you threw your own father into the street like garbage. The silence on the line stretched. Then Sarah said quietly, until you apologize, truly apologize, you're not welcome in my life, or Dad. And she hung up. Chapter 8: Guilt and Realization. Days passed. Sarah took great care of me, warm meals, long talks, and gentle laughter that I hadn't heard in months. But deep inside, I knew I couldn't stay forever. I didn't want to be the reason my children fought. So one morning, I left a note on her kitchen table. My dear Sarah, thank you for everything. You've given me warmth when I had none, but I can't be the reason your family suffers. I'll be fine, don't worry. Love, Dad. I packed my small bag and quietly left. But when Sarah came home and found the note, she panicked. She called Kevin immediately. Kevin, Dad's gone. I don't know where he went. What, gone where? Kevin's voice trembled. I don't know, but this is your fault, she cried. For the first time, Kevin's heart felt the full weight of guilt. He drove to my old neighborhood, to the park where I used to take him as a child, and there he found me sitting on a bench staring at the pond. He approached quietly. Dad. I turned slowly. His eyes were red and his voice cracked. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Chapter 9: Forgiveness. I didn't say anything at first. The wind rustled the trees and the ducks swam lazily on the water. Finally, I said softly, do you remember when you were little, you once fell into this pond? I jumped in after you, even though I couldn't swim well. Kevin nodded, tears streaming down his face. You saved me. I smiled faintly, and I'd do it again because that's what fathers do. But tell me, Kevin, when did you stop seeing me as your father and start seeing me as a burden? He fell to his knees beside me, crying, I don't know, I let Lily's words poison me. I forgot everything you did for us. I was blind. I placed a hand on his shoulder. We all make mistakes, son. What matters is what we do after. He hugged me tightly. Please come home, Dad. I'll make it right, I promise. Chapter 10: The Family Reunited. When we arrived at his house, Lily was standing at the door, tears in her eyes. She looked different, not proud or arrogant, but ashamed. Mr. Thompson, she began, voice trembling, I'm sorry, I was wrong. You were never a burden. I was just selfish. I nodded. It takes strength to admit that, Lily. From that day forward, things slowly changed. Kevin made sure I felt at home again, really at home. We shared meals together, laughed, and even watched old movies like we used to. Sarah and Emily came over every weekend. The house that had once been cold and silent was now filled with warmth again. Chapter 11, A Father's Reflection. Months later, as I sat in the garden watching the sunset, Kevin came out with 2 cups of tea. "Dad, do you ever think about that night?" I smiled every day, but not with pain anymore, with gratitude, because it brought us back together. He looked down. "I'll never forgive myself for what I said." "You already have, son," I said, placing a hand on his. "Because you changed. That's all a father wants, to see his children learn, grow, and love." The sky turned orange and gold, the same color as Maria's favorite dress. I looked up and whispered softly, "We're okay now, my love." Epilogue. People often say time heals all wounds, but I've learned that it's not time, it's love, humility, and forgiveness that truly mend the heart. My children learned that day what I always knew. Family isn't about convenience. It's about commitment. No matter how far we fall apart, love, real love, always finds its way home.